Hello and welcome to Peanut Butter Jenny Time. My name is Jenny Tian. I interview a guest every single week and we have just a silly little chat together. Today my guest is Kevin La.
Hi, my name's Kevin La.
I was going to go AKA Sydney Food Boy, but you were like, no, just Kevin. Kevin's fine.
Yep, my name's Kevin and I do Sydney Food Boy on Instagram, TikTok and YouTube.
Awesome stuff. So I kind of want to get to know you a little bit more during this process. To start off with, is content creating and all of this your full-time gig, or are you still? I read that you do optometry.
Yeah, that's right.
So are you a full-time optometrist?
Yeah, so I work full-time as an optometrist every day except Wednesday and Saturday.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm on 5 days a week as an optometrist.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you're also like making all this food content.
Yeah, pretty much.
How do you find like juggling all of that?
It's hard. Like, I pretty much spend, you know how they say, you do your 9 to 5 and then you do your 5 to 9 or whatever. Does that make sense? But yeah, it's like as soon as I come home from work, my mind switches into content. My mind switches into creating the content, like putting something out there for the audience.
So to kind of like get into like your content and everything, I feel like, I don't know, yours is, and the reason I wanted to chat to you is because your kind of approach to, you know, food and uncovering it is so much different to like, you know, the other content creators I see that cover food, because yours isn't just about reviewing a place or saying what the very best is. You kind of like uncover a community as well within that. Yeah, could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Thanks. Yeah, like I guess when I first thought about creating content, like when I first thought about starting Sydney Food Boy, it wasn't just, you know, like going to restaurants and reviewing them and putting that up as content. Like I wanted to go like deep dive into everything. Right. And the idea came for when I was overseas in Singapore.
Yeah.
So I pretty much was in Singapore for like a solo trip, and then like when you're over there you just explore food. There's not much else to explore over there. Like,
that's so true.
like you can finish all the sightseeing and all that in like 2 to 3 days.
Yeah, it's quite a small. I walked from one side of Singapore to the other in like a day. It's not a very big country, but the food
it's
is
not very
like,
big. Yeah, but it's a beautiful place. It's absolutely beautiful. Like people are amazing, and it's the food that really gets to you. Right, like once you go into the hawker centers, not just the hawker centers, but like all the restaurants, but hawker centers in particular, like being able to see like the people who have been making certain dishes in little hawker stores for years and years and years, and like every single person there has a story. Like that's what first inspired me to come back to Sydney and say, look, I want to do this in a way where it's not just me exploring hawker stores, which we don't have many of in Sydney, but like the people that own restaurants in Sydney, the people that create food in Sydney, they all have a story, and I wanted to explore that.
Okay.
So that was the basis of what Sydney Food Boy is.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. And so I'm assuming you've grown up here in Sydney.
Yeah.
Have you ever wondered like, hey, what happens if I move to like Melbourne and I become Melbourne Food Boy?
I actually have. Like,
like,
I've actually thought of it because I really love Melbourne.
Oh yeah.
I've been to Melbourne. How many times? Nearly 10 times now.
Damn, because their food is pretty.
It's good.
Top notch. Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in Melbourne who cover food as well, and do it in a way which is quite similar to what I do in Sydney. And to be able to see like the differences between Sydney and Melbourne, there's a lot going on in Melbourne too, particularly in the suburbs.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. Like,
how would you say that? Do you find any differences in terms of like Sydney and Melbourne and the cuisines?
I feel like Asian cuisine. I'm gonna go out there and say this on the radar. Asian cuisine.
On the record.
Sydney's better.
Oh,
Sydney's better. But that's not to say that Melbourne doesn't have it though.
Yeah.
But I reckon just the community here, like the food that we're able to create and all the food that you can try here.
Yeah.
Better variety, better food.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, of course.
But it's close.
Yeah, you are Sydney Food Boy.
Yeah, gotta rep my home city, man. But there are like certain other cuisines that you will find both in Melbourne and Sydney, and it's all based on the community, right? Like if you go to Melbourne, there's a very high prevalence of like Italians and Greeks, like the wogs they call them,
Yeah.
So the food of that particular community is so much more prevalent in certain areas there. Right? And I've seen like photos and videos of, you know, Greek food Cypriot food, Italian food, all over in Melbourne. And I'm like, bro, I really want to go there.
Yeah.
Like, it looks amazing, you know?
It's another level to Sydney. And
Yeah.
also, like, I don't even think I've been to the proper Greek places in Melbourne yet.
I haven't either.
I've tried stalactites and that's it.
Yeah, same. I was trying to go too. Just because
so
it's like
good.
24/7, right?
It's like so basic.
Yeah, it's nice though. It's alright.
so good.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's like $40 for a whole plate. I'm like,
yeah,
that's good.
so
yeah.
cheap. Oh, great late night eat. Okay, so then when it comes to like, you know, actually like getting to the stage where you're chatting to, you know, the people behind this food, like how do you approach that? Are you just like, hi, I do videos, please let me film you, or what's the process?
It depends. Like a lot of the time, if I was just to go and visit a restaurant and eat food, I don't say anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, it depends what I'm filming for, right? Like if it's for Instagram, I can do everything on my phone. So if hopefully the restaurant owner does not recognize me,
Yeah.
then I'm just using my phone and I'm just taking photos like
Yeah,
any
true.
normal person would.
And
Yeah.
like, have you ever had anyone from a restaurant recognize you?
Yeah, it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, and
like,
then
particularly if obviously you know they consume food style content in
Yeah.
Sydney on their phone, like in their time. So, like I'm sure they'll have come across my page at some stage.
and how do they respond in that scenario? Are they excited?
Sometimes I don't say anything at all.
Oh, okay.
Until like afterwards, like I would go to a place, I would eat the food, I'll take videos and whatnot. Video goes up, and then they'll message me. They're like, "Hey, I saw you on that day."
Oh,
But
but I didn't say anything.
but yeah, like they probably think, one of them has said, I don't want to say hi because you're busy doing what you're doing, so I didn't want to interfere.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah.
Oh, a bit
Other
shy.
times they say hi.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
It's always really nice when people say hi.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
And how did your interest in like food start? Because there's a lot of people that love eating, right? But to actually like capture it, I think, and then find the stories about people, I feel like is something different. How did you go, oh, this isn't just like a little like, oh, I like eating food and learning about people. This is something else.
Probably goes back to that overseas trip as well. Like before thinking about creating content about food, I actually wanted to create content about travel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you could have been Sydney traveller boy.
But yeah, like I used to love going overseas with my friends and my partner Kelly, like back when I was at uni. And we'd do holiday trips in our uni breaks. Like this is before COVID, right? And I think maybe like 2 to 3 a year. I love traveling, man.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Like I really liked being just out there, like exploring a different culture, exploring a different world, right? And I didn't create content per se back then, but I would bring around a GoPro.
Yeah.
And I would, take GoPro videos and I would make a montage for my group of friends. Like every single time we went to a particular country. And that's like a video montage that we can look back on in the future.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And I still have all these videos back, like on a different YouTube channel. But
Oh, do you?
I'll show you later.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
But yeah, so I really wanted to sort of pursue that in a way.
Yeah.
But it was hard because, like, if you're living in Sydney, like, you can't just drop everything and go travel overseas. That's a big change.
Yeah.
You can, but, like, it's a big change.
Yeah,
right?
it is,
So it's not for everyone. So I found that it might be a little bit hard to pursue that. And then going back to Singapore, like when I was over there, I loved that feeling once again, like being overseas and, traveling around and exploring the place and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And in my head, I thought, how can I bring this vibe like back home to Sydney? Like I want to feel like this every single day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where it came from. Like, like for me, a lot of the time when you think about traveling, a lot of the joy that you get is from trying different things and trying new food. And that's something that I could bring back to Sydney.
Yeah. I love that it's like, because your stuff is like, it's not really just about the food and like the taste and like, oh, this is the texture and the quality, but it also comes with, oh, okay, these are the people behind it and this is the experience when you're there as well. It's like, I don't know, there's like a warmth that you bring to it that, is very enjoyable.
Thank you, and I appreciate
watch.
it. Yeah. That's definitely something like I try to inject into the content,
Yeah, 100%. And so, because you've eaten in so many places around Sydney, were there any areas that surprised you in particular?
Ooh, this is a good question.
Thank you. I wrote it myself.
Nice, very nice. Ooh, this is a very hard question. I think like when I started Sydney Food Boy for myself, there was a lot of exploring that went on. Like there were certain areas of Sydney that I had never thought you'd be able to find good food at.
Oh, like what?
Let's say Mount Druitt, St Mary's, like Western Sydney area.
Yeah.
If you go deep dive into like Campbelltown, I thought Campbelltown was like nothing. I thought Campbelltown was just like a suburb that people lived at. But there's actually some really good food there.
Oh, what type of cuisines?
You can find Greek cuisine, you can find Filipino cuisine, you can find bakeries as well. Like there's everyone. A lot of people actually live in Campbelltown.
Yeah.
And
Damn.
like I didn't know.
Wow. Because we think, especially when we live closer to the city, we're like, what else is out there? But that's cool.
And like as I grew up in Southwest Sydney, I didn't really know much outside of Southwest Sydney. So for me, it was a lot of exploring because of that as well, particularly Inner West.
The Inner West is so good, yeah.
Right? Like we're in the Inner West right now.
Yeah.
But I didn't know much about, like, let's say Marrickville.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then Marrickville is now one of my favourite places to eat.
It's so good, right? Yeah, I love it.
Like you have your Asian food, Vietnamese cuisine, and then you have your Greeks there as well, like the old school Greeks. And it's just like this amazing suburb, man. I'm like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what kind of cuisines did you grow up on around your area?
A lot of Vietnamese.
Nice.
I live in Cabramatta, Canning Heights.
So
so
that checks
Vietnamese,
out.
Vietnamese is everything, right? Like I grew up on that. So even though I'm not technically Vietnamese, my dad lived in Vietnam for a bit. Like, and I grew up in Cabramatta. Like, I'm very in the Vietnamese space, Vietnamese community, and I'm very honoured to be. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's the food that I grew up with. But yeah, this journey has been pretty cool.
Yeah. And so, like, you end up trying all these different cuisines and going out to these different suburbs. Like, how do you figure out, I'm going to film it at this one? Do you just, like, decide to go on a random trip, or do you plan it?
What are you talking, like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube?
Yeah, whichever. Yeah. I'm guessing, let's go TikTok and Instagram, and then also YouTube as well.
Okay. So for Instagram, what I do, I have this huge list of places that I want to check out.
Love it.
And these come, like, they're recs from friends, they're recs from other people that I know in the food space, they're recs from patients at work.
Okay.
So if a patient comes through and they're, from a particular community that I don't know too much about, that's actually where the conversation steers. Like while I'm checking their eyes as an optometrist, I'm like, like, tell me about this. Or, and we're talking about different things, we're talking about their community, and then we're talking about the types of food that they eat, I suppose, in their community, and where to get it. And then as soon as the eye test finish, I'm like, what is this?
You're always on. You're like, ready to go.
So I've made like a huge list, and there's probably about 200 to 300 places on that list.
Whoa.
And anytime I feel like just trying something new, I'll just run through that list. I'm like, where should I go today? Yeah.
Okay, so there's no shortage basically of places to go to.
Yeah, there's no shortage. Definitely.
Yeah, because I was going to be like, what happens 5 years down the line when you're like, man, I feel like I've tried everything.
Sydney is like endless. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Like I've been doing this for nearly 4 years now, and I feel like I've barely scratched the surface of it.
Wow, that's amazing.
There's that, and then you get your restaurant invitations as well. I think restaurants will invite you to come try their food.
Okay.
And for me, it's like, if it's a place that I was gonna go to anyway, why not?
Yeah. Do you ever feel pressured, like, if they're inviting you, you're like, oh gosh, I have to say good things about them, or are you always kind of honest?
Not really. Yeah, like I think it's important to stay honest as well.
So much integrity.
Yeah, like if it's not good, then it's not good. But you hardly find that because like the places that I would choose to go to, like choose to accept this invitation from, they tend to be places that like represent, like an ethnic food that I haven't tried before, or just something very cool, like something that I feel like would have a nice story or something like that behind it. So that's why I want to go and try it, right?
How do you figure out what has a good story behind it?
A lot of the time it's like it's an immigrant owner, or they have a particular dish that I haven't seen very much in Sydney before, and that's something that I want to talk about. Like, so for me, when these restaurant invitations come, and they do come, like I just think about whether or not I'm creative. I feel strong enough about this to be creative about it. Right? Because the last thing I want is for me to go to, for example, like a cafe, and they do like eggs Benedict and avocado toast. I'm like, what's so different about this to every other cafe? Like there has to be some sort of story that I feel strongly about to accept it.
I love that. Yeah. And then I love that, you know, that ends up, because the stuff that you feature is so different to what everyone else features as well. It's just like, wow, I never even knew this place existed. It's so cool. So I read a Sydney Morning Herald article about you. And you know, in it you said your upbringing, your dad actually worked at like a fruit and veg shop. Do you think that in any way, like being around food like that, influenced you subconsciously on some level to like appreciate it more?
I would say so. So story goes, my dad worked at a fruit and veg shop in Cabramatta for maybe like all of my childhood and teenage years.
Yeah, it's hard work, right?
Oh, it's hard work. Yeah, like my dad would never stop. He was working 7 days a week.
Whoa.
Like leaving the house at 5 o'clock in the morning, going to the farm, picking up vegetables.
Oh, so he'd go to the farm himself.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Like stuff like that. And then he'd go to work, and then he'd come home every day at like 6, 7 o'clock. And eat dinner, go to sleep, and that'd be his life. And mum would help him out too.
So they would run it together a bit.
It was my uncles and my dad. Like they all had a fruit shop together.
Yeah, family business.
Yeah, and then recently, like 6 years ago, my dad came away from that, and he's like, "No, I want to own a grocery shop instead." So now he owns a grocery shop.
Oh, cool!
So
Are the hours better?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. Like, it's a little bit easier on him.
Okay. That's good to know.
But going to the Cabramatta fruit and veg shop, like when he was there, I used to go and help out when I was younger.
Oh, nice.
Especially like during summer holidays and stuff when I was at school.
Yeah.
So, like, my favorite memory of that is going to eat something with my dad every single time. Every day I would go out to Cabramatta to help out at this fruit shop. My payment wouldn't be like, money.
Yeah.
It'd just be to go eat a meal with my dad.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
What were the kind of meals that you would eat with him?
It was mostly like Cambodian noodles.
Nice.
Which, like, for me, it's the most sentimental dish for me, because of that.
Yeah, because it was with your dad.
Yeah. But heaps of stuff. Like, I was going all around Cabramatta, so.
Yeah. That's full on. And, you said a lot, like in that article, that meant that he was away a lot in the evenings and stuff, and you didn't see him as much. So, growing up and everything, how do you think that influenced you?
I saw how hard my parents worked. I think that was quite big for me. And I'm not saying in a bad way, like, oh, my dad wasn't there or anything like that. Like, he was there, and like he's my biggest mentor in life.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, but like to be able to see your parents work so hard, it sort of shows you that you can do anything too if you put your mind to it.
Yeah. I feel like within like the ethnic community, there's like a really big thing of start your own business. Like it's such a, I don't know, it's seen so highly valued. Even if the business fails, it's like, oh, well, at least they're an entrepreneur.
At least you tried,
Yeah.
Because my dad, when he saw that I was into optometry, he's like, oh, that's great. You can start your own optical shop.
Yeah, right. It's never like work for someone else. It's always do it yourself. Yeah.
So he was pushing that for ages and ages, and like I wanted that too because my dad kept telling me to do it. And it's only like me being 5, 6, how many years into my work? 5 years now. 5 years into being an optometrist, where I'm just like, oh, like, do I want that? I'm not sure if I really want to own my own optical shop.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
And how does he feel about the whole like content creating side of things?
At first he was a bit like, oh, what are you doing? Now he finds it like fun. Anytime he would meet someone new, like even a family member from overseas who we haven't met yet, because we got family everywhere. He'd like first thing, like, oh, this is my boy. He's on YouTube.
Oh, that's so sweet. Okay.
Yeah, so he's very, very accepting. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so nice. How wholesome.
Yeah, man.
I feel like so many other people I know have kind of a shame around showing their parents
what they do outside of what is traditional.
Yeah. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
How do you feel your dad has kind of like mentored you over the years?
Well, like it's about what he's able to say. Anytime you have an issue or whatever, it's like he pulls you back in and says, look, as long as you're going down this path, this trajectory, it's okay.
Love it.
And I guess the other thing would be I saw my dad to be a figure where he wasn't just working under someone all his life, because he started out like as every immigrant person does when they move here. He just found a job, right? So he used to work in like the warehouse, the factories. He used to like print wine labels and stuff like that, like that sort of stuff.
Yeah, okay.
And then from there, it's just like, nah, there's more to life than this. You know, I want to make something for myself, and that's when he pursued something different. So, like, yeah, I think parenthood is very important, right? Like, to see your parents do certain things, it inspires you as the child to do that, or to do something different as well.
Yeah, 100%. I had a similar thing where my parents migrated to Australia, also worked like jobs that they didn't quite like for people that they didn't care too much about, and then and then both started their own businesses after
What did
that
they do?
as well. So my dad was an immigration agent.
Oh, cool.
And then my mum was, she had her own like massage, Chinese medicine clinic, which she still has as well.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what they both
Give a shout out.
got
Where is
into.
that at?
Yeah, it's in Epping. Oh yeah. So my dad, funnily enough, now lives near Campbelltown, and he bought a farm.
Okay. Yeah.
Like a hobby farm. Because that's his idea of what the Australian dream is, I think. And so, yeah, he lives there now a bit. And then between there and Epping. And then, my mum's Chinese health clinic is there. And, like, fortunately enough, she kind of, like, came up during a time where, like, suddenly it's really cool to be into, like, alternative medicine and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So
she's killing it, so.
I was supposed to say, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because as going into optometry now, a lot of people would, well, not really a lot, but like a few people would come in, and when I worked in certain areas where they're a bit more progressive in their thinking, right? And they'd be like, oh yeah, I had this problem with my eye. I tried some sort of Chinese medicine. I tried, like, I don't know, exercises, meditation. I'm like, what? Like, where did you get this from?
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, the tips my mum gives me, because she's very, like, old school, like, and very, like, the whole, like, oh my God, the type of food you eat, that influences everything in you. Like, and the reason that you're stressed all the time is because you're sleeping with wet hair, and that's bad for you. And like all these other like really specific. I'm like, God, that just has.
But where did she get it from?
Old Chinese history and like Chinese medicine and stuff that she learned. Because I think she like.
Sure, it's not WeChat.
And WeChat, dude. When COVID came up, I was like, oh no. She had so much cooked advice. She was just like, you got to sleep if you put like garlic in your socks, and then you sleep with that. That means you won't get COVID. And she would do that. And then I'm like, oh my God. And now if she smells like garlic, I'm like, I know why.
My partner's mother, she would like put onions around the house and stuff, and that would prevent COVID too. Oh God.
Yeah, my mum did that too.
Where'd you learn that? WeChat. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, right. And then I did eventually get COVID, right? And it was during the time where like it was everywhere, right? Everyone had COVID. And then my mum was like, you know why? It's because you're weak. And I'm like, what?
What do you even say to that?
Yeah, exactly right. She's like, it's because you're weak, and you're too stressed out. And she's like, look at me, I've never gotten COVID because I'm really strong. And I'm like,
has she still not gotten COVID?
She's still not gotten COVID. Yeah, but I'm like, but that's because you kind of just isolate yourself.
Wow.
And you're not in as many contact.
COVID just doesn't affect some people, man.
Yeah, I mean, she believes.
My fiance Kelly, she never got COVID.
Oh, and did you get COVID?
Yeah.
Damn.
I got COVID like twice.
Damn.
Yeah. And I was next to her too, you know. I was like, she never got COVID. I'm like, wow. She's straight immune, man.
Yeah. Wow. How interesting.
Yeah.
Who knows? Future strains.
Maybe.
And speaking of like socials and everything, I'm always curious about this. Are you on social media a lot? Like, do you consume it?
Do I consume? I probably don't consume it as much as I used to. Because I'm like, if I'm spending 5 hours a day creating content and putting content up, and
5 hours a day, jeez.
And then I spend another 5 hours a day consuming other people's content. I'm like, this is not gonna work, man. That's 10 hours a day.
No sleep.
Yeah. So I probably spend like online time, maybe like 20% of my time consuming other content.
Yeah.
And then 80% of the time is creating my own content.
Yeah.
Okay. So I still consume.
Yeah.
But
and do you do it with the sole goal of like, this is because I want to be inspired, or are you like, I'm just gonna keep that much stuff?
Yeah, just enjoy.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people as well that intentionally don't consume content unless it's for their
really?
For their own videos.
Like, most of the food content I enjoy is actually like from people that I see as figures to look up to.
Yeah, and who were some of those?
Like Mark Twain's big inspiration. Migration only. The guy that goes like the big eyes.
No.
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 If I show you a photo of him, you'll recognize him.
All right.
Like Mark Twain's was a big one for me. Who else? I love watching like travel food vloggers, like people who go overseas, like Food Ranger, particularly the ones in Vietnam as well. For some reason, it's cool because like when you grow up in Cabramatta, you do get an understanding of Vietnamese cuisine because that's a lot of what they sell in the suburb, right? But then when you see food vloggers in Vietnam and seeing what they eat, I'm like, wow, like I've never seen that before at all. Like it really explores it.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think you'd ever potentially spin off one day to go like, oh, I am going to travel and do food as well?
Bro, I want to, but I don't know how I'd make it work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I see a lot of people that do it. They're just like, nah, I'm going all in. I'm sacrificing everything. I have nothing in my home right now that wants like to keep me here. So I'm just going to go overseas. I'm just going to smash it out and I'm going to do what I want. Whereas for me, I love Sydney. Like I love calling this place home.
Yeah.
And there's a lot for me here.
Yeah.
So if I pick everything up and go overseas, that's a huge, like there's a lot going on there, like to sacrifice, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a lot to pull away from.
It's massive. Okay.
Yeah, and I have my fiance too.
Yeah. Oh my God, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like she would probably come with me as well.
But you got a wedding to save up for.
That, and she has a good job too, and look, it's a lot of the things that people will say when you chase your dreams, like, oh, like don't be scared to take a risk and stuff like that. But it's a risk. It is scary, man. Like, yeah. So maybe one day we'll see.
Yeah. And I love that you're content with what you have here.
Yeah, I love it. Like, live a good life.
Yeah.
Sydney's good.
All right, so we'll go to our section now called clapbacks. Now, this is where every week I ask a guest to bring in some of the meaner comments that they've gotten. But you got such a like wholesome vibe and community. Do you even get negative comments?
Not much.
I love that. Yeah. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. And I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah.
The bad comments will come like once in a blue moon, I reckon.
Yeah.
And
okay.
it's mostly people who just like they don't like certain foods, and then they want to let people know that they don't like certain foods. Like I put something up and they're like, oh, that looks like shit, like I'm like, yeah, but
you got to try it, like.
Yeah, that. But it's also I've come away with the mentality that everyone just has their own taste. Like,
yeah,
that's it.
true. True.
And if one person doesn't like certain things, then so be it, man. I'm not gonna go out there try to change their mind.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome.
Like,
well. Yeah, sorry, you were going to say?
No, what about you?
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say, since you don't have any clapbacks, I'll use mine.
Okay. Let's do it.
So, I'll use one that I got recently. I don't know, for some reason, like, I feel like when you do comedy, people get particularly attacky with you, basically. So one that I got recently is, so I'm doing a show in London and I'm trying to plug it, right?
That's crazy, London.
I know.
Oh, congratulations.
I mean, I haven't done it yet. So.
Okay. But still though.
It might get cancelled. No, it should be fun. Yeah. But yeah, no, I was posting about it and someone was like to me, Brandine, also not my name. I'm like, is that a reference? I don't know. They're like, Brandine, you're not funny, stay away from London. And also, what else did they say? They're like, you're about as funny as Carl Borin, as in Carl Barron. So they were trying to make a joke.
Oh, okay. And, Carl Borin.
Also,
I like Carl Barron.
Who doesn't
He's great.
like Carl Barron?
Yeah,
right?
he's
I'm
funny.
What a compliment, if anything. I love Carl Barron. It's the best.
Wow.
And then recently I posted, because I had some, I didn't know about this, and I don't know about how international your audience is, but I had just random people from Amsterdam message me. And it was about 3 people that DM'd me going, are you coming to Amsterdam? And I'm like, maybe that's the thing that I'm not aware of, where like Australians go to Amsterdam when they go to the UK and Europe or something. So I don't know. So then I posted on my Instagram story because I was like, I got a show to plug. I was like, sorry, I'm not doing shows in Amsterdam. It's just London. But however, if you are overseas and you want to watch me, I've got a special coming out, right? So it's like, Yeah, it's a little bit of a plug. So again, he responds, DMs me, Brandine, not my name.
The same guy.
Same guy, right? And goes like, you only had one person message you about Amsterdam, didn't you? We don't want you there. If you're performing in Amsterdam, I bet you it's going to be outdoors in front of like the red light district. And I'm like, hey, I'd perform there. I wouldn't mind.
Why not? Wow, what a hater.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So anyway, that's the most recent one that I've gotten. That
All right, what are you gonna say to that?
I'm gonna say.
Have you responded yet?
Oh, I don't respond when people are mean, but I'll respond on this. So probably even pettier. I'd say. Firstly, my name's not Brandine, and also Brandine's quite a nice name. I wouldn't mind performing in the red light district, dude. I'd perform anywhere. I've performed in a pub to one person. Like,
cool.
I'd
That's
love
the experience,
that.
man.
Take me Amsterdam, yeah.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah,
it's such a negative Nancy, man.
So negative. Negative Nancy. That's what we're going to call this person. Negative Nancy. All right. So I'm going to wrap up the pod now. These are questions that I ask every guest at the end of every single episode. So the first one is: do you go to therapy?
No,
you seem pretty well adjusted. I don't feel like you would. Okay, so what do you think is the greatest lesson? And you can take a little bit of time thinking about this one.
Okay.
What do you think is the greatest lesson you've learnt from like a mentor or a teacher or a figure in your life?
This is a bit cliche, but focus on something, whatever you want to do, go hard at it. As long as you can think that it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, a bit cliche, but like that's it pretty much. Like, I think when you're growing up, you're stuck in a little bubble. Like you see everyone doing something a certain way, and like you think that's that. But then I never bloody imagined like I would have a food blog or like a food YouTube channel or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the main thing was, if you can see that it's something that you want to do and you keep going towards that direction and keep consistent at it, like something's gonna happen, man. Like, yeah
100%. I have the same thing where if anyone told me younger that I would have been doing stand-up comedy or creating content online, I'd be like, that's so silly, because the circle of people you're surrounded by influences you, and no one in my circle was doing anything remotely close to that or anything creative.
That's right. Yeah,
but you can adapt
Absolutely.
to your environment and you can change it, and if you can see it, you can do it.
That's right. Yeah. And true too. Like, true for me too. Like, my best friends, I'm still very, very close friends with everyone from high school. Like, my whole high school group, they're my best friends,
Aww.
And I'm the only one that's doing any sort of like social media work. And like, when you go through social media and stuff, and you consume content, you always hear, surround yourself with 5 people you want to be inspired by, or blah blah blah. I'm like, that's not true, man. Like, like I have my friends and they don't do this stuff, but that's okay,
Yeah, I don't know who on earth is like calculating like I'm gonna take one person from this thing and one person from this.
It's like those success gurus, like
before I finish on the final question, what are your plugs? Do you have where can people find you on socials and stuff?
I do most of my time on Instagram. So Instagram, Sydney Food Boy, at Sydney Food Boy. YouTube, Sydney Food Boy. TikTok, Sydney Food Boy. Oh, I
love it. So consistent. It's your username.
Hey, I'm lucky, man. that username was available. And I'm slowly getting up a website.
Ooh, that's exciting.
That's in the works. It's been in the works for 2 years, and
whoa,
it's just like I have not put a fire under my ass to do it,
Yeah, previously you were just like, if you can see it, you can do it. Just do it. And now you're like, but I've been taking 2 years on this website.
Bloody hypocrite.
Hopefully that'll be up by the release of this podcast.
Maybe, we'll see. But it's for all the people that like message me on Instagram and TikTok and stuff. I'm like, I remember you posting something about this particular spot, but I can't find it. I want like a directory of everything, so I can always look back on it, and for everyone in the audience, they can always go to that website and find whatever. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, last question. How do you like your peanut butter? Smooth or crunchy?
Crunchy.
Love it. No one's ever asked me this before. Now I have to consider it. You know what? Every single person so far, as of the recording, has said crunchy.
Oh, really?
I like smooth.
You're a smooth girl, man. I like smooth too. Like, I don't know. I do like a little bit of crunch here and there though.
I'm really into textures of things.
Yeah.
So when I feel a lump in my mouth that's not consistent with the rest of, and that sounds
bugs you
real
out, huh?
dirty. Anyway, but when when the consistency is not there, because when
Yeah.
it's like a random lump that
Yeah.
I don't know why that wigs me out, and I'm like, nah.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I like smooth too though. You know, they both taste good.
They're both good.
Yeah.
They're both good.
I'm
yeah.
just thinking about like which one I'll buy more. I'll buy more crunchy.
Yeah. Absolutely love it. Well, thank you so much, Kevin, for joining me on the pod.
Thanks for having me.
Like, subscribe, rate, do all the things. I don't know whether it
Subscribe
does
to her
anything.
channel, man.
Yeah, subscribe to Kevin as well, please. It's been so much fun hanging out with you. Thanks for being on the
A lot
pod.
of fun. Thank you so much.